Where my girls at? Where my girls at? Independent, free spirit. Ooh, it's so serious. Where my girls at? We ain't linked up in a cool minute. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right.
How's that? Going down. Down. It's happy Monday, y'all. Happy Monday, happy Monday, happy Monday. This We Got Issues on 9:10 a.m. It's the girls and Jalen today on Monday. We're excited to be here with you at 9:10 a.m. the Superstation. And this is so exciting. The force of friendship has come together. We're all over the place. We are literally traveling all over the place. My name is Gloria Mayfield Banks. I'm your host today. And you guys that listen to us on a consistent basis, I know all of you are in prayer right now, hoping I get to my topic before 5:57. It's not gonna all be about news because yesterday was National Bosses Day. And you know, we have all had different capacities of bosses. We've had some good bosses, some bad bosses. I want you to call in and give us your opinion of the boss. I want you to call a girlfriend and say, girl, you know you had an experience with the girlfriend. Call us with the stories. Tell us what's happening. We got stories for you today about our bosses as well. You know, the show after the weekend is always so full of so much stuff. So much is going on. We say it over and over and over again. Well, my biggest news is that I'm home. I am in my own house. Yes! 59 days on the road, you guys. 59 days on the road. 7 of those days we're here in the home, in and out. But honestly, you guys, seriously, be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you ask for. Okay, so we were in Cartagena on Friday, coming home on Saturday, and I was like, oh, you know, when you get into that warm weather, it's just like, can I just have one more day? One more day. Kids like, no, we have to go home. We have to go home. We have so much to do. I'm like, just one more day, one more day. No, we have to go. Okay, fine. And you would think I was ready to come home. So we leave Cartagena, Colombia. The weather is fabulous and 88 degrees. It's amazing. And we land in Miami on time. And y'all, the gate. We can't get to the gate. We cannot get to the gate. We sit on the runway for 50 minutes. We cannot get to the gate. We finally get to the gate. Everybody, of course, is because, you know, Miami's a major hub, number one, and a major hub for American Airlines. So we grab the luggage, run. I got all my 11,000 steps in one moment from one life to the gate. Run to get the gate. Of course, we miss our connection, so we're stuck in South Beach, Miami. Oh,
That's not the. I don't feel bad for you. On a Sunday or Saturday.
Another day. Be careful what you ask for, you guys. I was stuck in Miami for another day, so we decided to stay the entire day in Miami. Went to South Beach, had a fabulous time. The weather, the palm trees, it was absolutely beautiful. And you know what? This is the thing. After traveling, you know, you go to Miami, it's like you got Cartagena right here in Miami. It's all Miami. I mean,
well, Gloria, most people domestically, they go to Miami for the Miami. Yes.
I mean, when I tell you everything is in Miami, okay? The breasts are in Miami, the butts are in Miami, the language is in Miami, the food is in Miami, the sun is in Miami, the palm trees in Miami, the water's in Miami, the heat's in Miami. We saw a parade of motorcycles. Okay, so you know me and Ken all over social media. After we watched 2 minutes of all these motorcycles, like we're like this. Then we said, did we catch a video of it? Nah. I mean, they were humpback and it was electric. The music was electric. Okay, so, you know, I'm currently over the last 2 months. I've been the travel girlfriend, but you don't have to go nowhere but to Miami. Just get to Miami. You get to Miami, you can see everything you want to see. Forget about passport, forget about visa. Just go on to Miami. Get you some Cuban food, and you're gonna be all right. I'm just gonna tell you, you're gonna be all right. But we're here. I came home last night. We got in here at 1 o'clock. Everything was fabulous. You know, house is fabulous. I don't bring this the whole thing about how to re-enter your house. House was fabulous. Food was there for us, everything. And then today, beautiful Baltimore just rained all day long. Not over there with Sabrina lives. I don't know what neighborhood of Baltimore she's in, but in my neighborhood, it was raining like crazy. But it stopped just in time for we got issues. So we got issues. Let's get the rest of the girlfriends. Who else here? Sabrina, what's going on? What's going on in your colorful shirt? What's happening since you didn't have no rain?
You know, it's amazing. When you talked about all the rain, we have not gotten one drop. I walked Rio a little earlier. It was beautiful, but then we did get overcast. I said, I got to get Rio out before the rain comes. And so when you talked about the downpour, I mean, Gloria and I are living about 20 minutes away from each other, but it's so crazy, just the difference.
It's only raining at your house, Gloria. I'm sorry.
Because I left Miami.
Exactly. So maybe we'll get it later. Maybe we won't, but it's actually, you know, the sun looks like it's trying to come out over here. So we shall see. Happy Monday. Every day is Monday motivation. Great day to start the week, you guys. What are your goals? How are you driven? It's a new attitude, new Monday, middle of the month. Let's go. So,
no, wait a minute. Now, you know, it's just me and you in the football league, and we're trying to bring Chrisette on. We have to bring her onto the college ball because ain't nothing happening in the pro over there where she is. And Katrina is totally clueless, like totally. So give them an update for the sports people, Sabrina. What happened in football?
Michigan State won.
Cowboys lost. Ravens lost. Everybody lost yesterday that we care about. Everybody. Well,
not everybody lost.
Won. College football, we won. Oklahoma finally won.
Michigan State won.
Michigan was fire. They were fire. Michigan. Who did they play, Chris?
I don't know, but I know they won.
Now, you don't go too far. You don't go too far, Gloria.
They won. That's all I know. I was at a restaurant.
Who they play? I don't know.
I was like, yay.
That's the
They won. That's all that's important.
The Eagles won. And the Eagles have been winning everything. And so we have to lift up Hines, the new quarterback that's there, the new head coach who's 41 years old, his whole staff. Talk about Boston Day. His whole staff is younger than he is. He's one of the youngest coaches. He's got a young quarterback, and they are taking the NFL by storm. They took on Dallas, whipped them all into shape. Oh, my goodness. It was crazy. But we got whipped to the Giants. I mean, for real. I was just so disappointed. But it was football, and there's a lot of life lessons. Go ahead, Chris. What's happening out there in the Big D?
Well, not a whole lot is happening. It was a great weekend with my sisters to celebrate my one sister's birthday. I mean, that's a show in and of itself, is, you know, how you celebrate your sibling's birthday. And it's just really great because 3 of my 4 sisters live in the Detroit metropolitan area. So every time we have a birthday, we all go together and celebrate their birthday. So we did that. And then, you guys, you know, I'm a green girl, so I got a semi-green thumb. So it's transition time. You guys know I posted a lot of the flowers that I planted for the summer. And my sister came on and did a show about perennials and annuals. So I took all of the perennials out and I put in some beautiful mums. So I was really proud of myself that I was able to do that. So I know that's kind of boring. It doesn't compare to football, but whatever.
To some people it does. To some people it does, Chris. You, your sister, and probably 3 or 4 other people that really like flowers.
Whatever, Gloria, whatever. So I did that. But you guys, in the news today, and I'm sure a lot of people are excited about this, President Biden, he launched the federal application for Americans seeking student loan forgiveness. And they said as many as 43 million borrowers out there. So just think about it. That's a show in and of itself. How many of you that are watching and listening are still paying student loans, right? And so that's really exciting that so many individuals who really need it, I believe it's going to go to households where they'll cancel up to 10,000 in student loan debts for individuals making less than $125,000 and as much as $20,000. So just think about it. That's going to make a significant difference in many households' budgets. So I'm just excited that, you know, so many will be able to take advantage of that. And, you know, one of the things that he said today that I thought was very interesting is, you know, I think there is a lot of pushback from the Republicans, you know, with giving this student loan forgiveness. And President Biden was like, but you all got millions of dollars in grants during the pandemic to save your businesses, and the government bailed you out. And here you got individuals making $125,000 or less, and y'all got a problem with the federal government giving them $10,000 to $20,000. I mean, you know, the hypocrisy for sometimes is just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Right. Absolutely. It's a very big deal. And my whole thing is I just want the message to get out. I'm just wanting the messaging to get out of what he's doing and why he's doing and the impact that it's going to have on the economy, because that's what they're trying to spin it on. It's like, how is that going to affect the economy? They're trying to say it's bad. He's trying to say it's bad. So I'm just, you know,
it's going in the economy. All of it will go in the economy. These are people
exactly.
I mean, it's going to go right back into the economy. It's not like the people are going to save it or put it under their mattress. They need that money. No. It's like, hello.
One of the things they talked about was the fact that people that make more than that, they're going to go after them and make sure that they pay their loan. So this does not, everybody does not qualify for this. So there are still individuals that are going to have to pay their, you know, their college loans back. So it absolutely, Katrina, is going back into the economy. So it's a good thing, not a bad thing.
Right. You know, Chris, I was listening to a doctor the other day, and he certainly does not qualify. But I'm telling you, when he broke down on the board the math of how much he had in student loans, how much his malpractice cost, how his daughter does not qualify for any loans because of his income. I mean, and he chose to go into a family law practice where he's not making as much as he could have if he was in a specialty. I mean, honestly, it just made me think we need to revamp the entire system, because even though he's making a lot, it's costing him, you know, a lot in terms of what a lot of people would consider to be a lot.
Overhead.
He just said he still is having problems and does not have money, has nothing saved for retirement. Like, and this is a doctor, you know, you don't want your doctor to be stressed, you know, like, right. So it just, it's a sad situation. It is just so expensive to be educated in America.
And, you know, and sometimes we think, I was just going to say, sometimes we think when people are in professions such as if they're a lawyer or they are a doctor, that, oh, they have no money worries because they're a lawyer or they're a doctor. But like Katrina said, some of those individuals, depended on if they didn't get any scholarships, you know, they'll be paying money for a long time. So I can absolutely see how, you know, people think that people are making more money because of their profession, and that's not always the case.
Right, exactly. Katrina, you were going to go ahead and introduce yourself for those who are joining us for the very first time on We Got Issues. But let me say this. Charlene said crazy school loan. She says mine is the down payment on a house and she's renting. That's a perfect example. Charlene, thank you for cluing us in on your story. Katrina, what's happening out there?
Oh, yes. Well, I apologize for the social media that I'm a little dark. My husband came in and said, that is not professional. It is too dark. Well, we have been moving some lights and other stuff. He's been move that to California, take that to California. Well, I don't have enough light here. So just, it's okay. You know, I'm like, you got other things to do aside from being concerned about how dark I am. But he is a loyal listener. You guys, I'm here again. I mean, I am here again, standing in need of prayer. It was just in March that the FOF tribe was praying for us, but my husband's sister passed away suddenly. And so that really is the reason I don't have lights, because I literally I just had unpacked my bag. It actually was still downstairs in our California house, and I literally had to grab it. And he was in Atlanta and come back to Chicago. So that's why we are here. Just pray for the Earl family, and especially her kids and grandkids. It happens.
We want to hear a little bit more about that, because this is true that we all have siblings, and it's just such an impact, and you're right in the thrills of it. We're coming up on the break, and we're going to be right back. You're listening to We Got Issues on 910 AM, the Superstation out of Detroit, Michigan, on an international road, and we'll be right back at you. We're back. Katrina, tell us a little bit about Anthony's sister, because, I think that it's a time we all need to lift up our siblings and give them an extra hug, because that was such a sudden situation.
Yeah, so sudden. We were just in town briefly to take care of some business and, check on our house here. And Anthony, you get that. He always calls his sister. He is definitely the glue in his family. And so he called her on Wednesday, and he thought to go to her house, but he knew if he stopped by, he would only have an hour. So he called her instead and said, let's get together. So he had called her, then called two of his brothers and said, let's have breakfast on Monday. Big, their big breakfast, get together, the whole family. go to one of Obama's favorite breakfast spots. And Monday never came, y'all. I mean, that would be today. He was supposed to have lunch with his sister. And the baby boy found his mom. You know, we believe a cardiac arrest. We just don't know. But our nephew who found his mom had just been with her Thursday night. I mean, and according to what we know, literally, she may have passed away shortly after. And so it's just, it's so, you know, it just reminds you there's no way around it. I'm very emotional about it. It is very sad. She was vibrant. She was one of the ones who fought for me. She was like, you my girl. I would have told her to marry me. You know, I mean, as I was literally in the kitchen today, just sweeping up, y'all, you know, when you lose someone, it takes little things. And I was sweeping up and I just literally saw her dancing. I was like, how many times did she dance in this kitchen?
Wow.
And so I'm not from Chicago. I'm not big on Chicago stepping. I mean, I love seeing it, but I don't have all the moves. So my favorite thing was to see her. I'm gonna teach you. And her and Tony, come on, Tony. That's what she calls her brother, her big brother. And just watching Deborah and Tony do, you know, step, move. I mean, it was always so much joy. She was the crazy one, the fun one, and the life of the party. And that voice is gone. And she has children, her boys. I mean, just listening to them, y'all, they were handling their business. And it just reminds us that it's not when someone passes away, but it's so far after. Because I don't know if I've heard his voice crack a few times, but there's no time to grieve. You just keep it moving, you know. And somebody said yesterday at church, afterwards we went out, and he said, you know what, my job gives me, this is another show, y'all, 3 days off if I lost a spouse. 3 days off work for losing a spouse? He said, not an uncle, not a cousin, 3 days for a spouse. I mean, there's just so many things that are right in America, and that's something that is wrong in America. Other countries are much more friendly to family leave, and, you know, can you imagine?
No.
3 days. I mean, I need more than 3 days, and this is my sister-in-law. But that's just a problem. And so, you know, again, our condolence, especially to those who lost loved ones in the pandemic, because it's just, you know, there are still people who have yet to be celebrated properly because they were lost in the pandemic. And so here we are. Anthony's supposed to go to Greece on Friday, and he's had to postpone that trip. So was a big event in Turkey. That was going to be a big prayer conference, but God said different. So thank God for the opportunity to make changes.
Yep.
Our deepest condolences, Katrina, to you and Anthony. I mean, Anthony's such a family man, loves family, loves hard, loves big. And I know this is a blow to lose his baby sister. So we are praying for the Earls and praying for you guys for sure, for sure. Loads of love and hugs.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Jennifer said they get 5 days for the loss of a child. She said 5 days. You can't even plan the funeral in 5 days.
I'd be like, you're going to fire me. If I got 5 days, fire me. I'm sorry.
Right.
I mean,
and why would you even want them back after 5 days? They can't even think straight. You can't even think straight.
Right. That's ridiculous.
So I'm so glad you brought that up, because you know, we just always have to be reminded. It doesn't matter. You just have to be reminded. Chris is with her sisters having a birthday, and Anthony's in a whole different situation with your siblings. So you have to really, really pay attention every single time you get a chance to pay attention. But Kat, you said you had some news. What was the news you had?
I do. This is, y'all, Atlanta, one of the most woke cities in America, I think, but we're going to see what Georgia does, okay? But did you see this? 2 Black comedians file a lawsuit over police racial profiling at the Atlanta airport. If you Google it and check it out, not a super well-known comedian, but you'll know his face if you see him. And so he was going through the airport, just through the security. I'm trying to get the exact thing. And they profiled him. I mean, they pull him to the side. They accuse him of, I think it was drugs or something. His name is Clayton English. Police officers came out of nowhere in almost like an ambush style and started singling me out. I was the only person of color on the jet bridge at the time. And they singled him out. They asked me if I was selling drugs, transporting drugs, what kind of drugs I have on me. The lawsuit was filed. And because of who he is, He used the power of social media and posted it, and another comedian came forward and said the same thing happened to him. And a lot of other African-American males started saying, you know what? That happened to me. You know what? That happened to me. Guess what? That happened to me. Racial profiling, drugs, just out of the blue on the jet bridge at the Atlanta airport. I mean, it's a problem. And it's good that it finally happens to somebody who has a voice that can speak directly to it.
Right. And they have to keep speaking. They have to keep talking. They have to keep talking about it, because that's the situation. That's that's the thing with social media. You go back and forth. Do I spend time? Do I not spend time? Do I spend time? Do you not spend time? And then you can let people know that what are you saying? I'm telling you, over the last week, I was, as much as I could be tuned in, it was because of Twitter. Twitter, who you follow, but you can really get some good news on Twitter if you pay attention and see what's going on. And so that's deep. For while we're on this subject for a second, talk about Georgia, we just have to, all of us nationwide, have to be loud about get out the vote, get out the vote, get out the vote. Doesn't matter what state you're in. It doesn't matter what your situation is. Everybody knows somebody in Georgia. Everybody knows somebody in Florida. Everybody knows somebody in Arizona. Everybody knows somebody in Michigan. Everybody knows somebody in California. We all know people everywhere. And the bottom line is we got to get out the vote, especially to the disillusioned who are in the 35 to 45-year-old range. They're the most important and the least tuned in to these elections. So it's really important that we get the vote out.
Chris, you're muted on StreamYard. You're muted on StreamYard.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm saying, what do you guys think about him coming out now saying, yeah, I sent her the check? And the sad thing is, almost like Donald Trump said he could go where was it, in New York, Fifth Avenue, and shoot somebody and nothing would happen. People have dug their heels in the sand, and at the end of the day, Herschel Walker could be the worst father, the most abusive husband, could have paid for multiple abortion. He's not the brightest person, and I'm gonna say that because he said that. Doesn't know a whole lot, but he's not the brightest person.
He said he graduated at the top of his class and he didn't even graduate.
Exactly. I mean, just so many fabrications that is ridiculous. But you know what? I was watching MSNBC and they were talking about that. And Joy, I love her. And she was just saying the reason they want him is because he's a puppet. He's going to do whatever they want him to do. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, massa. Whatever you want me to do. You want me to vote this way? I'm going to vote that way. So, they're going to support him 100%.
Yeah, what about Ye? Y'all see where Ye is buying Parler?
Parler.
Ye is buying Parler, the conservative platform, y'all. That's just horrible.
Because Twitter, who cut him off, Sabrina? Who cut him off?
Yep, Instagram cut him off for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
And he it just came out just now that he was at an Adidas meeting with the executives showing them porn at the meeting.
What?
Yes, Ye. A very uncomfortable situation for the executives. He walks into a meeting because they were getting ready to negotiate his contract with them, and he is showing the executives porn on his phone. He's crazy, y'all. We got somebody crazy, but the situation with Herschel Walker is very, very, very serious. But when I tell you, when he showed that police badge, and if you went to Twitter, talk about the memes on woo! You gotta laugh before you cry. You
Really
cry.
Do.
It's really sad.
I got a lot to say, but
he
Lord, I know you
represented us. Yeah, right. Exactly.
So I'm gonna save mine till tomorrow. What I had to say for Herschel Walker, because I know you're trying to get to your topic before 30 minutes after the hour. I got a lot to say about Ye and Walker. Ye and we. Okay.
Okay, wait. Okay, so let me introduce the topic. So y'all girlfriends, because I'm moving it back. We're talking about Bosses Day. And I want to have a conversation with what is good bosses, where you have some bad bosses. Listen, you guys have to call in at 313-778-7600. We want to hear some stories about what makes a good boss, what makes a bad boss. But I want to say to all my girlfriends that are on the show and that are listening there, happy National Bosses Day was yesterday, because we've all done a lot to help other people in their wave and in their growing and how they started and all that kind of stuff. So let's talk some stories. Let me hear a story from either one of y'all about who's been somebody special to you right after the break. Because here we are, we got issues, and we're so excited to have you here with us today. It's Monday, Motivated Monday. Every day is Monday, according to Sabrina. But we'll be right back right after this break, 9:10 a.m., the Superstation. We're glad to represent them. Life is what we make it, what we make it, what we make it, what we make it. And we have had to make it with some good bosses, some bad bosses, some good people, some people that we celebrated. I'd love to hear from you guys, callers. Have you have a story about a good boss or a bad boss? Did you have a story about how you celebrated your boss? Or did you just totally ignore them? Like, I can't believe you are my boss. Like, it all depends on a lot of things, the attitudes that you have, who knew it, who didn't know it, what was going on. But I want to tell you a story about a good boss I had. And this boss I had early in my career coming up. I was in high school. I will never forget this woman. I will forget her name, but I don't forget the woman. Okay, so she gave me a job as a secretary, and I was in school at a special program in the college program while I was in high school. And I know I'm dyslexic, but y'all, I can type. If I could see it, I could hit the letter. I don't have to spell it, but I can see it. I can hit the letter. So she gave me. She was in a combination of real estate, but she had insurance. But anyway, she would leave me in her office at night, and she would leave me all these responsibilities. And the reason I felt that she was such a great boss is that she trusted me. She gave me instruction, and she made me really feel that regardless of my dyslexic situation, that I could be a real asset to her. And she made me feel really good about that. And so sometimes those things will really make a difference for you. How a boss treats you can really set you up for the rest of your life. So that's a story that I have. And I have some things to care. But who's got a story about a good boss or a bad boss?
Well, I have
So
one.
long. I'm like, my first thing was my assistant texted me, and today she kind of told me, you did this, and so I had to apologize to her because I was wrong. When you got a lot going on, you can forget things, and so the boss, I hope that I am a good boss. Let's just say that. I hope I'm a good boss. I think I am. I mean, she gets to set her own schedule. Because sometimes in a small business, your assistants can become like family. Wouldn't y'all agree? I mean, they just, they know everything. I know I said to her the other day with the loss of Anthony's sister, I said, you know what, if anything ever happened to me, God forbid it happened to me and Anthony, I'm like, you are the go-to person. And so there was a couple other things I had to go through with her because she know more than anybody, period. Okay. And most assistants do. Wouldn't you agree? They know it all, right? They know how to navigate and how to do it. So I hope I'm a great boss. I think I am.
What's the major asset you feel you contribute to being a great boss, Katrina?
I think the flexibility is like, as long as you get done what needs to get done, come early, stay late, do whatever. Somebody said, I was watching again a TikTok video, and he said after the pandemic, every single person he hired is a mom. He said he had no idea how much he was missing out on not hiring moms. He said why it's working is they come at 6 a.m. At 9 a.m. they leave and they go take care of their kids. They come back and they work till 2 and they leave. And he said they are the hardest working, most efficient workforce he has ever had. And he has I don't know how large his staff is, but the way he was talking and he said it's because everybody in the comments was like, it's because you let them work when it's convenient. So they give you their best, So yeah.
That's big. That's very, very, very big. Flexibility. Who else has something? Who else?
You know what? I have something, and this actually happened when I was on a work program in college. And when I look back at it now, it kind of was probably a little bit of sexual harassment, but I didn't really know it. My boss called me in the office and asked me, did I want tickets to this basketball game? And of course, I wasn't into basketball like that, but it was at the University of Michigan. And that's where my best friend, Vanita, was going to school. So I thought he was offering me the tickets, and I was going to call her and say, hey, I got some tickets to the basketball game. You and I can go just to hang out. But that's not what he was doing. So I said, oh, sure. And then he said it was he and I. And I was like,
your boss?
My boss. Gloria. I mean, it was so uncomfortable because once I figured out he was talking about he and I immediately wanted to say, no, I can't go. But then it's like, do you say? I mean, I just remember being so uncomfortable, and I ended up going, and that was before cell phones. And I just remember being in that car, just being so uncomfortable, thinking, what is this guy going to do? And he was kind of asking me some inappropriate questions. And I really think he was trying to figure out how far I would go with him. And I always think about being in those kind of positions, and somebody else would have been, oh, just tell them no. But I had already said, yes, I wanted the tickets. And then to come back and say, well, no, I don't want to go with you. I just felt in a situation where I was pressured because it was my boss. I had to keep my job, but luckily nothing happened. But I never forgot that. That was one of the most uncomfortable propositions I've ever had. And that was and I was, again, I was on a work study from college. So, that's real.
That's real. That's real. And this happens a lot of times to a lot of different people. And it's interesting the way you said he asked you if you were available first. Everything happens in the sequence that they want the sequence to happen in, and it really does make a difference. And those uncomfortable places. It's so sad how you can have this many conversations about a bad boss and this many conversations about a good boss. And it's always been in a different situation that can put you in a place that can really guard your heart for the rest of your life. These situations are a very, very big deal. So I'll tell you a story about a bad boss that I have, and then we're going to go over some qualities. But I had a boss when I was working at a company, and I was mid-management, and they brought him in over me, but his salary wasn't as high as my salary. When I tell you he didn't like me, period, with a capital T. And the reason was, number one, I negotiated my salary. And because of the Harvard Business School degree, I negotiated even higher. And he wanted the job, but he hated the fact that, number one, I think he doesn't want me, period. But he hated the fact that he was making less than I was making. But he did give me a really big gift, because he complained to me once about a paper that I had signed or had turned in, and there was a typo on it. You know how I feel about typos, right? I'm like, I know it's not the best thing to do, but sometimes that ain't my wheelhouse, and So he had me in the office trying to make me feel bad. And he made me feel, and I'll never forget this. A tear dropped down my eye. And for those of you who know me, I don't cry, right? So when that tear dropped by my eye, I knew that was going to be the end of my situation in corporate. And that was pretty much the start of the end of my corporate life, because this man took it upon himself to make me feel bad in such a way that I didn't feel I had a recourse anywhere else to go, because he was never going to make my life. He would never give me a raise. He would never do anything because he was making less than I was making. So
and Gloria, how long was that? How long ago was that?
Girl, that was 30-some years ago, 35 years ago.
But my point is that still women in the workplace are still dealing with that. Women in the workplace they get paid cents on the dollar to a male. It's still in the workplace that they're getting overlooked. I mean, for jobs that they're so deserving of. But can you imagine that was 30-something years ago, and we are still having these same conversations. And so kudos to the women who are boss babes in the workplace. They are the bosses in these workplaces, but still it's too few. Still, they're not being paid what they're worth. Still, we're not, even when you're at the table, more than likely you're not making the decisions that they get to make. And
and still you're the only ones at the table. So I talk to so many of these women where they're the only ones at the table. So that means that if they're the only ones at the table, no one's backing up their idea. No one's bringing, they say something and no one's continuing the conversation on their idea. So they're getting met with this type of strife all kind of ways. And then they walk into organizations where they're the leader of the organization, and the people that are working for them don't want to work for them just because she's a woman. They haven't even had a chance to experience her as a boss before they make judgment on it.
So true. So true.
It makes a difference. Okay, let's talk about the qualities of a good boss. Qualities of a good boss is they initiate a clear vision. They connect with the vision on a daily task. They set clear expectations. So I'd love some of the people to type into the chat or call in and tell us their experiences with a bad boss. And it's not just an employee situation, it's entrepreneurship as well. I can tell you honestly, I've been in a situation where people have worked with me part-time, they work with me full-time. I had a real deep conversation with a woman in Colombia about a housekeeper that she had for 14 years, you guys. Took care of her and her kids for 14 years. And just like you said, Katrina, the administrative assistant becomes your friend. Sometimes your housekeeper becomes your friend, becomes your family member. And in their culture, their housekeepers or their nannies will have nannies for their kids so they can take care of your kids. I mean, that was a very interesting conversation about that, but that's how they do. A good coach does great coaching. She or he provides great feedback. She appreciates the effort. Now, if I talk about appreciation, underline, they will tell you that the best bosses know how to appreciate. And the statistics say they don't care how much you pay them. They don't care how hard you work them. They don't care sometimes on how you treat them if you can appreciate them. And when you think about how people can appreciate people and the ways in which they are appreciated, really does set you apart. Because so many women got issues, y'all. We got issues. We're going to talk some more about bad bosses, good bosses, National Bosses Day. We'd love for you to call in at 313-778-7600 or leave us a comment and tell us about your story. But we'll be right back at you. We got issues on 910 AM, the Superstation. Wow. You guys, can we tell you, the Force of Friendship is so excited about what 910 is asking us to do. We're so excited about the things they're asking us to bring you to our tribe. We're so excited to have partnered with them in such a way that we're taking it to another level. So you guys, please stay tuned. Stay tuned to what the Force of Friendship at 9:10 a.m. Superstation is partnering to bring to you, because we're very excited about extending this relationship that we have. We got issues, and there's some women who have some issues in the comments. Katrina, what are they saying?
Oh my goodness. Carnation Cleaner said, I'm originally from Kenya. I have a cleaning business. I have a boss who is more than family. She trusts me while I'm at their home working for them. She travels overseas and does not worry who will be checking on what I will do while they are away. That makes me feel really appreciated. I can never ask for a better boss. That is really good. She said, I also had a boss who sent me to headquarters to teach me how to cook the books. She wanted me to exhaust patient insurance and then get them to apply for a medical credit system that she knew they could not afford. I quit that job within a month after the incident. So we applaud you for your integrity.
Right.
And that's deep. Delia says, I had a yelling match in the middle of the office with my boss. I stood my ground to not be talked down to and lied on. The next day we were okay, as if nothing happened. Okay.
Wow.
And Dorothy talked
That's a
about
skill.
a boss who hired her and then fired her so he could give his wife the job.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Wow. Delilah, you
I had
you're
a
the one that needs
boss.
to call in and talk about how you had a fight with your boss in the middle of the street. We want to hear about you because you got issues, girl. You got issues. We want to hear about your issues because you can handle it in the middle of the, and then everything was okay the next day.
But
So,
good for her to
that's good.
stand her ground, though. To stand her ground. I
Right.
think that's so important that, you know, my mother always said you teach people how to treat you. And
That's
that's
true.
from a marital relationship. That's from a kid
Right.
perspective. That's from a boss, a working situation.
Right.
My goodness, you guys, that could never be the furthest from the truth. And so good for you, Delilah. Now, I don't know how you have a shout match, a fight, and come back the next day and say, good morning. Would you like some coffee? But hey, whatever works. But stand your ground, baby. That's good. That's good. Hey, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything, right? That's it.
Absolutely.
That's it. Stand up
Yeah.
for what you believe.
Gloria, I
Right.
was gonna say, I think a good boss versus a bad boss, I think it's some people are empowering, some people are demeaning. I think it boils down to their people skills. And the bigger thing is, what's the culture in that company? Some companies just have a culture that
Right.
I had a woman named Michelle who was probably the best boss I ever had. And then I had another boss named Joanne, who was my last boss I ever had. And Michelle was wonderful to work for. She was empowering. She made me feel like I could see myself moving up, doing more, helped me to craft and become better at who I wanted to be as a young woman. And Joanne made me think, how fast can I get out of here? As a matter of fact, it's one of the reasons why I went in my office. I was like, okay, this is over. I'm fixing to go full time. I mean, it was her. And sometimes, you know, God may have allowed her to rub me the wrong way, but she just was an ick monster. And she ran the place. She let you know she ran it. Wasn't nobody going to be better than her, but, you know, bigger than her. And, you know, it was a mess.
Those are
she had bad people
those
skills.
people. How do
Insecure.
How do they get ahead in life when they don't even have basic people skills?
Right.
I mean, a good boss has great people skills. A good boss makes you feel like you can do it and can correct you when you need to be corrected. I just think people skills make such a difference, Because Katrina, when you say, I just believe, how fast can I get out of here? Knowing you are loyal, you will go to the end of the road. I mean, really, what a shame for a boss not to know how to, you got to learn how to sing folk song, period. When you're in a leadership position, know how to sing.
That's
the song.
right. Sabrina, but sometimes you will find that there are bosses that are insecure. And when they're
Right.
insecure and your gift and your talent shines through and people like you and maybe don't like them, their insecurities can rise so much till you become the enemy as opposed to them recognizing you as an asset. So I absolutely know that there are those that have risen, to a certain position, but they are still totally insecure even though they're in that position.
But you know,
For sure.
I've often wondered, Chris, back to that point, I've often wondered how people get to such a high level and they're so mean. How do they get to such a high level without those people's skills? How do they get to such a high level when everybody around the coffee machine is talking about how ugly they are? How do they get to such a high level when they fire people so quickly and so rudely and so with no compassion? I just don't understand it. And you hear about this all the time from men and women alike, that they can be rude, they can be mean, and they still get
Well,
to climb
Gloria,
the corporate ladder.
well, sometimes it's something that's been handed to them too. Sometimes it's a family business, and their father was a president. They were groomed to take on a certain position in the company, and it doesn't matter their people skill. It's just that they have the right last name. So sometimes it's that.
Gloria, do
Yeah.
you feel, because your personality and who you are, do you feel that corporate America could have handled you if I'm saying it right? I mean, do you feel that you could be all that you are today if you had stayed in corporate?
You know what? The question is well taken because it would depend on the culture and the boss. If you have a culture of a company where people, I think there's some companies today that we read about that want people to be at their best. If they, when Google opened up and they brought liquor in and they let you take a nap in the middle of the day, they were all over YouTube. They were all over bring your best all the time, whatever it takes. Come when you want to. They were doing this stuff way before before the COVID was happening. I don't know the answer to that question, Katrina, but I can tell you that the culture makes a difference and the boss makes a difference. And so the difference is that you could have a boss on the 11th floor who could have been excellent. Then you get promoted to the 12th floor, and that boss is horrible, or you just don't connect. That's a whole nother thing. He's not horrible, you're not horrible, but there's just no connection whatsoever. And now you're in trouble as well. So that's why if you have a great boss, you really need to celebrate that boss and really have a relationship with them. They say that women have a hard time because they don't have the advocates that other people have. They're afraid to step to the left, step to the right, because no one's advocating for them when they're not in the room. So how do you get people to advocate for you if you're not in the room, especially if you have a boss that is afraid of you taking over? And we also know that women who are confident are people that they're afraid of. They're afraid sometimes of that confident woman who can walk in the room and handle her business and not be afraid of anything else. So we got a lot of stories on it. That's why I love National Bosses Day, and I love National Bosses Babe Day, because you never know who you're going to run into. But you cannot not do your best. Oh my goodness, y'all. We got to my topic early and we buckled all the way to the end. This is exciting, you guys. So excited. You guys, seriously, we want to make sure that you tune in. We want to make sure that you share us. We want to make sure that everybody knows about 910 a.m. the Superstation, and how We Got Issues is a big piece of it. We're going to be here every day, 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is The Force of Friendship. And so if you have just now got to it, go to theforceoffriendship.com and clue in with you. And we'll be here tomorrow for you, 6 p.m. tomorrow. See you later. Bye-bye.